Cool. All right, we've caught up again with Andy. Day two, same shirt, and actually same shirt, just for the recording. But
Continuity.
yeah, continuity. Last time we touched a wee bit on team engagement, looking after your people, and your thoughts on cash flow. There's a couple of other things that I wanted to get your pearls of wisdom on. One was around what you're doing at the moment in terms of getting ready for climbing out of this. And I suppose that's like a wee bit of a sliding scale. There's heaps of uncertainty at the point we're at the moment.
Yeah, it kind of starts and ends with communication, I think. We, like you say, we don't know what's coming in some respects, but we do know a date that we start. And even if we can communicate with our staff, our suppliers, our clients, letting them know that there's something happening, even if we don't have all the answers. I found that to be quite useful. Be proactive with that communication. So, like I mentioned to you just off here, there's a lot of those canned email responses sort of flying about. Some of them are cut and paste, some of them are sort of come from government, and they can turn into a bit of noise. But if you're able to craft something that's of good value, saying, yeah, this is what I'm doing, but specifically for you, my client, this is what we're doing, and you're able to do it at a large scale, so it doesn't take up too much of your time, it's a really good idea. Because the opposite of that, or not receiving that, I've found, in lieu of it, there'll be a lot of people trying to find out the unknowns, and that means they're calling you. And we obviously can't give them a whole lot of knowns, other than, yeah, we're all going back to it Tuesday, but letting them know that we are thinking about it is probably enough. And it's the same way how I'd feel for my suppliers. So communication is pretty key. And that goes the same for your staff. That's sort of been true the whole way through. You don't want them to be wondering about anything, because if there's a space where there's wondering going on, something will just get made up. The whole time through this, I've tried the best I can without being too moving into personal space. Keep the comms up, and that's going to continue. And it's a lesson that I've learned that I'll continue beyond COVID-19. What are we doing to prepare? It's communicating.
Yep, and the proactive sort of stuff in and out of the business.
Yeah. And then the other stuff is sort of functional, sort of operational preparation, and that's getting our scheduling underway again. So figuring out where all our sites are at, where our vehicles are at, where our plants at, all materials, where it needs to go. Basically, we're going to spend the next 3 days getting our heads back into what we left behind, and come up with a plan how to execute it. So.
Because it's obviously not just turn off, right, turn it back on, just keep going. There's a lot in terms of there are a lot of kind of headless chickens running around on those last couple of days doing work that will now have to be undone to get sites ready again. Definitely.
I mean, we were making it up as we went on those last couple of days, and a certain amount of fear and sort of panic underpinned some of that, in quite a structured way, I think, but there was still that where we wanted to protect all of our assets. So everything we owned that wasn't started to be installed, we basically took off sites, stockpiled it at our yard, and then battened down and protected every one of our assets the best we could to avoid pillaging, thinking that was going to be what occurred. Pick up the pieces from that. Know that our sites were pretty secure and tidy as we left them. We should be able to pick it up quite easily when we come back, once we get our gear and materials back to site. So.
How are you going at that, I suppose, at that real functional, practical level of returning to work in level 3? Like, what steps are you sort of taking? Because there's no hard and fast. I know there's been things going between you and I and coming from all different directions, just around like recommended actions and, as you say, the canned responses and that sort of thing. But have you got anything that you've found quite good in terms of the real practical steps you've taken?
CHASNZ, which is Construction Health and Safety New Zealand organisation, put out some pretty good directives, and they gave them specific to vertical infrastructure and residential. They're extremely good resources, that stuff. Get ahead of this, I started planning for what level 3 would look like well in advance, and started sort of pushing out ideas to my wider group, my network, to see what other people are doing to help prepare something, so that we're not fresh Monday, get that news and try and put something in place. So I have been thinking about it for about 2 weeks. So I gave it 2 weeks, then I started planning our return. And when the announcement came and we got directive from CHASNZ, we weren't too far off, but it did require a little bit of manipulation. What that allowed is I wasn't running around like a headless chicken the day after trying to produce something. We had the bones of it ready. We just adjusted to match. And so I feel pretty good with where it's at. It's well scrutinised by a lot of people. It's been sent out to our clients and any other peers that we work with that may want to use it. We want to provide that. And yeah, we're in a good place for that. So contact tracing, our protocol to protect all our guys, and then just site requirements in order to operate safely. It's sort of all set up.
Yeah. From your perspective, how do you see it going practically on sites? Like a lot of the rules are awesome written down, but in terms of getting the wider adoption, how do you sort of feel that's going to go?
It's one of those things where the prescribed rules, I think, should be less important compared to the intent of what we're trying to do with it. Should have done it. But if we're able to drive home to all of our people what the intent of what we're trying to do here is, and essentially that is to reduce the chances of a virus getting spread, people can understand what they can and can't do in that, and what's right and wrong. Mm-hmm. The majority will always choose to fall in line. And if the majority care about it enough, which I wholeheartedly believe we do, they won't stand for other people going against that intent. Yeah. And you can jump into all of that stuff around 2 meters and washing your hands before and after meetings and start prescribing it, or you can just go, right, that is the guidelines or the rules that someone's prescribed. This is the intent. Mm-hmm. Let's live under this. Let's all abide by this intent, and that will automatically mean that you clean down your surfaces after and before, because you're trying to protect yourself and your grandmother. If you're going to include her in your bubble, like you think about that. You're not going to share tools and vehicles. You're going to do the contact tracing because that's proven to be the right thing to do. It's less about rules. And I know that those documents that they pumped out and I've aligned to with our protocol are big. Most people won't know them. Yeah. What I tried to create from it was a list of sort of the intent of things in a way. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Cool.